What's going on, people? Welcome to the UnitedStand. Welcome to your Sunday Monday show. You know what it is. We do this Monday show when it should be a Sunday show, but you lot get the drift by now. We've got a great show for you lot today. It's all been going off on social media and all of that jazz, but loads of to get into, loads of news. Eric Bailly supposedly wants out of Manchester United as well. We're going to talk about that. But the main thing as well is Solskjaer the right man? I'm joined with Beth, Ricky, Kev, Jay, and Mark as well to go through it today. I want to see all your opinions in the comment section as well. Let me know what you guys are saying. Smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. And after yesterday's horror show, because that's what it was, really bad performance, I think it's just kind of left a lot of people saying, you know what? Is Solskjaer the guy? And people who already thought he wasn't, they're coming to the party and saying, this is why he isn't, this is why he never will be. People who are on the fence are a little bit like, I can see why, and some people are somewhere in between. So we're going to get into that today. We really are. And big up to Jay for coming on as well. First time on the Sunday Monday show, and Mark kind of just drops in as he feels like it. You know, part timer now on this show.
It'll be a good show tonight, so I thought I'd just drop on and. Yeah.
Absolutely, it definitely will. It definitely will. So, Kev, I'll start with you, Kev. Yeah. Solskjaer. Simple question, mate. I doubt you'll give me a simple answer. I don't think anyone will really give a simple answer today. But is he the right man to take us forward?
Such a different... I've got to be a politician on this one. Let me just go and sit on this fence over here for a minute and then I'll give you an answer.
He's wearing red for Labour.
Hey, do you want these tweezers, Kev? Do you want these tweezers for the splinters on your arse?
Do you know, it's a difficult... If you're asking me on the basis of the performance, the result, and the way that this season could possibly end, then yes, you're going to look at... I've got no problem with anybody that says that they believe that Manchester United should make a change of manager. I said it the other week, let's just see how the season pans out. But as it goes, the FA Cup, we're now out of it. I think we've all agreed that a trophy and a second place finish would be classed as progression. Europa League is so difficult to win. So if we don't and we finish second, progression-wise, we look at next season then and we go, we're going to lose the league by how many points? Next season, to go one better next season will be to win the Premier League. Can we do it? I don't think so.
Okay, so... we don't really know what Kev thinks there, basically.
I'm sitting on the fence. I always say don't sit on the fence, but...
I'll go to Mark and then Beth and then bring in Jay and Kev as well. Jay and Rick, sorry. Mark, I mean, what say you? I mean, you're doing this every day. You're doing shows every day, 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 10 a.m.
Oh, do you know what? Just before you go to me, I'm just wondering if anybody's actually Ollie out, because I think that would be interesting. Yeah. If we got anybody who just thinks Ollie's not the right man. Silence. Do you think he's the right? Go on then. Jay or so Ricky, are you in or out?
Come and join me on the fence, everyone.
I'm on the fence with you.
Let me put this to everybody. I mean, obviously, every day you see on social media, apart from comparing us to perhaps City's players or Liverpool's players, if most of the fans on social media think that our players are better than Arsenal's players, better than Chelsea's players, better than Spurs players, apart from the odd player, obviously we take Harry Kane, but just generally, people usually say our players are better than their players, generally. Now then, Tuchel's come in at Chelsea, 14 games, 12 clean sheets, let 2 goals in 14 games. Without signing a player, just by using, I don't know how many points they were behind us when he took over, but just by using the players that he's got there, they look to me like they are going to be challenging us for second spot. And now, I was about to say it took him 14 games. It hasn't taken him 14 games. It just happens to be 14 games now. It took him 5 or 6 or 7 games to get him playing like he wanted to play.
So basically, Ricky's saying that, the style of play. Yeah, the style of play. And that is what a lot of people do say. Robert McCormack says you want sustained success, you need time. It's proven. And super chat here from Paul. Paul says, Maguire, Lindelof, Fred, McTominay, Matic, Mata, all have to go. Simply not good enough. And Robin says VC couldn't deal with the balls over the top or crosses, so Maguire was signed to replace. Injustice to buy, also trade Pogba for Odegaard.
You know what gets on my tits though, just to come just in, is that, you know, like I saw that Gary Neville was on about the amount of changes we made, and I for one would not moan about the changes we made yesterday. I've got no issues with the changes he made. I felt Telles deserved the game. I think Van der Beek, Pogba, Martial all needed to come into that team. The problem is, and Ricky's touched on it there, and I'm sure everyone else is going to do it, is the style of football is abysmal. And there's talk of Van der Beek going today as part of a swap deal, which might be a load of nonsense. But if Van der Beek goes, I think that's not a failure on Van der Beek. I think that's a failure on our coaches that they don't know how to get out a player out of that. I said it this morning. Michael Carrick sat next to Mourinho 3 years ago, and we are in exactly the same position, doing exactly the same thing. But I'll let Jay have his say, and Beth as well. I just feel that I can't move from where I've always been. That is, I said it after Leipzig. People are screaming in the live comments now. They always are. And I'm like, I can't move away from where I was in December, which is I'm going to give him till May, and then I'm going to see what happens in the summer. And ultimately, if he continues like this next season, the clue is 3 years ago. We're exactly where we were 3 years ago. Mourinho was second. A lot of fans were starting to turn against him in the April, and he was gone by the December, and he didn't get back. So, I mean, look, you can lead a horse to water. I think the warning signs are there.
Yeah, there are a lot of warning signs. Before we come to you, Jay, Kanani says, no manager will be the right man under this board and regime. Hashtag Glazers out. Hashtag Ollie in. Hashtag Team Beth. We got the Bethmeisters in there as well. Jay, what are you saying on the Ollie thing? I spent a lot of time with you on the fan forum, so I've got an idea. But for the context of this, I know you had your hand up there for Ollie out. I mean, do you think that he's not the right man then? Done.
Flex and everybody else, for me, he was never the right man. He was hired originally on sentiment, ex-player, Brian's caretaker manager. The fans lost the run themselves when he went on a good run. We got that comfort mind victory against PSG in Paris, and everyone is chatting the eye at the wheel. Let's look at his body work before he came to us. He managed mulled in a pub league in Norway, got relegated with Cardiff. He never had the coaching nous or the experience. And Mark, you said in your own show many times, he was learning on the job. Is that what we're used to as a club of our stature? Hire a manager to learn on the job? Not good enough. Secondly, he clearly is there to act as a conduit between the fan base and the board, because the board, as we all know, we won't get into it, I believe they have given him the tools the first season when he bought Harry Maguire. Now, I've said it many times, guys. Harry Maguire is the rock he will perish on. That is his signature signing. You can park the price all you want. That's no, like Solskjaer and Harry have no control over the price. But Maguire is the signing of his career. And I feel after him making that call on Maguire, the board are very reluctant to give him money to go out again and make another signing. Next point. The only reason we got top 4 last season was because in January transfer window, both McTominay and Pogba were injured, and we got Bruno Fernandes, who we should have got back in August, but the board flapped about. So for me, guys, last season, Bruno Fernandes kept him in the job. Without Bruno Fernandes on that side, that team is a ship without a rudder. That's what that team is used to. And now we become, and I've said it on the show, we become protection racket FC, 6 at the back to protect 2 buses sofas that don't function as a partnership. Then protected by slow, ponderous Matic, who should not be at the club. He's fit for retirement in the second division in Portugal or America. That's who he's fit for. Takes 4 or 5 touches to pass the ball. Sorry. Then we've got a fake Brazilian Fred. And we have McTominay, who is box to box, but has been shoehorned to play CDM. So the team section yesterday, that is on the manager. Not on the Glazers, not on Matt Judge, not on Woodward. That's on the manager. I said in the show last night, guys, that Brendan Rodgers must have been licking his lips when he saw Solskjaer had started Matic and Fred beside each other as the pivot against Tielemans and Ndidi. Again, on the manager. Substitutions on the manager. So we can moan and groan, guys, all we want. We are as we are right now, structurally, tactically, and the way we play because of the manager.
There's 3 things. Yeah. There's 3 things I would just say before we go to Beth. There's 3. I actually agree with a lot of what Jay said. it doesn't make me not give him till May, but there's 3 things I've said it before on the show. He'll fall on his sword with Harry Maguire because he has to. He has to fall on the sword with that one, and he's right about that. Bruno is this comparison to last season. I said it this morning is so cloudy because we only had Bruno for half the season last year. So how can you say that the points tally this year is better than last year when we only had Bruno for half the season last year? And the third point is that I really agree with Jay, and I think we've spoken about it on here before, is that from day one, Solskjaer was brought in after Mourinho because the board needed somebody to take the deflection off them. And he has been the meat in the sandwich, or the lettuce if you're vegetarian, for a long time. You've got one slice of bread, the fans, one slice of bread, the owners, and Solskjaer is the filling to buffer. And where I do disagree with Jay, and I'll let everyone else their chance, is that I firmly do not believe that it's... I think the vast majority of the blame is on the Glazers because they are running this football club like a business, and anybody, Liverpool owners, Man City owners, Chelsea owners, they would do what a lot of people want to happen anyway, but they would make a lot of other changes as well. If the fans like Jay and people want Ollie out, then why did the owners not see that is my problem. And they're messing the club up.
Mark, I was backing your point. I agree with you. The Glazers have always run this club as a cash cow. And their raison d'etre for the last 3 seasons, they were slowly building the Buccaneers to win Super Bowl. And that was done the off season when they signed Gronkowski, Julio Jones, and the GOAT, Tom Brady. That is their raison d'etre as a family. The club, the football club for them, they are a business tool to extract dividends and to extract profit.
They're not football fans, are they? They're not.
Of course they're not. So for them, Solskjaer, he's the perfect manager. He's not going to be truculent in the media like Jose Mourinho was. I'll take you back to the time when United were on the US tour in 2018. Mourinho came back from the US tour, obviously knew he was getting no signings. He got Lee Grant come on as a 4th choice Mickey Mouse goalkeeper. He knew he wasn't going to get through the valley.
He's our goalkeeping coach now.
Yeah, exactly, which he wanted. So, and you could see the demeanor of Jose Mourinho from before they went on tour to when he came back. Mourinho was demotivated from August to when he got sacked. And I think at the end, Mourinho played Fellaini, just take the piss because he didn't care anymore.
I remember we went to Liverpool. He had Pogba on the bench. He had Martial on the bench. He was taking the piss by the end of it. I mean,
but back to my point, Flex.
Go on.
Yesterday. Team selection, team tactics, that's not on the board. It's not on the Glazers. That's on the manager. It's on the manager.
He has to take accountability for that. He does have to take
for that reason, for the way the team is set up. 6 at the back, protection racket FC, playing the busted sofas of Matic, Fred and Matomole. That's on the manager. So for that reason, guys, I'd become Ollie out.
Damien says, can someone explain to me why Ollie doesn't want to use Eric Bailly and why the hell Fred is playing in the United shirt?
We'll talk about Bailly in a minute. Let's get better.
Yeah, and Yasser says, it's funny how Rick praises Tuchel for his record since he came to Chelsea when Ollie did the same thing when he was appointed as interim manager. Shaking my head. Joshua Bolwater says, Beth is all about sipping on a bruise, waiting for Jay to criticise Dan James and Ricky to come and defend his son like Batman to Robin. We haven't got to that bit yet. And Ray says, we turn our nose up at Ollie, but in the last 2 seasons, he's done great with a bad United side. No manager would have done better at this current time. For me, Ollie doing good. Beth, you heard, obviously there's loads to take in there, loads of topics there. But, how do you see it with Ollie? Do you see him taking us to the next level? Has he taken us as far as he can? Has he taken us anywhere? What's your thoughts?
If you just base it on the way we play, if you watch the games and saw the way you play, you would think, no, he's not good enough. Because for a team that is second in the league, our style of play should be much better. Our ball retention should be better. We do the simple things wrong, and that is down to the coaching. But you also look at where we are in the league. We're second in the league. Second to a very, very, very good City side. Can you complain about that when you've literally got, when Pogba's injured, you've got Matic who is past it, you've got Fred and McTominay who are average players. What else, in a way, is he supposed to do? He's got a lot of average players in that squad and he's not had the time to get the ones he wants out and the ones in because the Glazers, obviously last summer he didn't get to do much business. Maybe it was because he spent that money on Harry Maguire. But if like we always say, he did have a quick centre-half who complemented Maguire. If he was allowed to buy one, would we see a difference in the CDM partnership? Would we have someone more attacking in there? You just don't know. So for me, I want Ollie to be given time to get the players he wants, exactly the players, because he has had a few signings, but he's not had enough as he should, and then see how we play. I mean, we put 18, 19-year-old Mason Greenwood on the right wing every game because we don't have a right winger. And he should be just kind of getting coached into the team the way Foden did, into his position. But we can't do that because we have nowhere near the squad as a lot of people, like Ricky said, think we do. And we don't have the rotation. We see yesterday people were complaining when we rotated. Even I was complaining because I thought it's a really important game. But then we complain when he doesn't make subs because of the lack of quality, when in reality we probably don't even have a full quality starting 11. People think that we have more squad depth than we do. So I think if we get second, like we are on track to do, and push, and we have to win the Europa League. I don't think there's any excuses with that. With the teams that are left in it, we have to win it. But the only thing that questions me is the amount of big games he's changed his tactics on, he's changed his team, he's changed his formation, like the Leipzig game, this game, other games that have been important. Against Sevilla, we bottled it in the Europa League semi-final. This is a worrying factor, but I think that is because we are dealing with an inexperienced manager. It's just whether people want to stick with him because he is a club legend, not club legend or club hero, whatever people want to say about him. Do people want to stick with him until he gains that experience? Or is your opinion that Manchester United is too big of a club to do charity like that? Do we have to get someone in who knows what they're doing, the way Chelsea has done with Tuchel, an experienced manager? It's each to their own in that opinion. But for me, I think you've got to give him the summer, hope he gets some money, but I don't even know if that's looking likely. I think with this team, if he's not given more money, he will struggle and eventually will see the end of his time. But if he does get the backing, because he always goes on about long-term plans, then you've got to judge how we play and how we compare to everyone else. If we're still in the same boat where we don't like the style of play, when he's got his players in, then yeah, it's the end of the road. But he's not been able to take the team all the way that he should be given the chance to do, in my opinion.
I think that you know what, you know, both Beth and Jay there. I've just read a super chat or a comment as well, and I think Steve Lebo, yeah,
that super chat there is spot on, isn't it?
Ollie inners and Ollie outers are absolutely right. You know, that's the difficult thing, and I think like what Jay says is spot on. It's not acceptable for United, but I also think, you know, I'm probably more Beth for May really, because I'm like, I think Ollie himself has admitted he's not. It's a work in progress, and it's like, well, we are second in the league and we are still in the Europa League, so you've got to go till May. We will go till May, and then by the time you get to May, you're going to have to see if he gets the summer he wants. And you know, let's see where it goes. But I also get the frustration that those people who go, "Why wait until May? It's clearly not going to be good enough." I can really see both sides, and I think you just make your own personal choice on it. The only thing I would say, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Kev, because obviously you've been on the United stand for a long time, and I remember the days of Fellaini. And we used to talk about Fellaini and say, why are they picking Fellaini? Why are they picking Fellaini? And I suppose my only concern about Ollie is I do feel that Ollie's Fellaini is this McTominay thing and Fred thing and Lindelof and Maguire. It's like he's got 4 Fellaini's. And I'm not convinced that even if he gets a midfielder and a centre-back, that he will just suddenly go, yeah, you're shit, lads, you're not playing. I still think that might be his weakness that worries me next season.
He will stick by them. And ultimately, it will see him out the door at Manchester United. Me and Flex, Jay, and that in the fan forum have spoken in great detail about this, that if you do not have the balls to break up these partnerships, try something new, you're just flogging a dead horse every week. These partnerships are just non-existent, and there's no progression or anything. You don't look and go, oh, well, you know, they've had a good run of games. I just do not get it. I will say as well on transfer targets, I don't see Solskjaer getting his targets. He's already informed us that in the summer, so he's already setting us up, has said, don't expect big things in the summer. So the Glazers have obviously said to Solskjaer, took him to one side and said, you know, he might say, well, we tried for Haaland last year. We want to go for him. Jadon Sancho, Haaland. Yeah. But then where does it go? Because if we get into the summer and Solskjaer identifies the targets that he wants, but doesn't get them, and we crack on into next season pretty much with the same squad, bring a few youth players through, whose fault is it? The book will always stop with Solskjaer, won't it? So we bring a new manager in. Yes, he might have new ideas and stuff, but we're going to be no better off with the structure of this club because managers continue not to be backed in the transfer market.
Well, look at what Van Gaal said just very quickly, because I'm sure Ricky's going to come in. But the sad thing is, and I try to repeat this a lot, is that the evidence is already out there. You know, Van Gaal's not been manager for a few years, and neither's Mourinho. Van Gaal has come out with those comments that Manchester United is not run like a football club; it's run like a bank, and Bayern Munich is. And to win things, you need to be getting your first and second choices, not your sixth choice. Well, he was our manager 2 managers ago, so it's very obvious. And Mourinho said it as well. He didn't get what he wanted. Now, I wanted Van Gaal sacked, and I wanted Mourinho sacked, and I'm sure a lot of people probably want Ole sacked. But Kev's right. This is the thing. I don't care what manager you get. I don't see Pep Guardiola or Klopp doing any better. The football will be better, but they'll hit a ceiling.
Yeah, that is it. Sorry, just quickly, Zaymas, he says, Ricky, are you ready for Europa? We await for Daniel James and the fridge. And Andrew C says, please stop saying second is good. Yeah, it is, but we are really in a false position. Mark my words, Liverpool and Chelsea will rise again and we will fall back. Ari says, I disagree with Beth over Ollie. Has Donny van der Beek and hardly used him all season, so I don't trust him getting the right players and using them properly. And another super chat here from Half says, it's the best time for Ollie to leave the club before this becomes toxic with the fans, like Jose. I don't think it doesn't feel toxic with the fans, like how Jose lost the dressing room. I think, to be fair, as we're sitting here talking about this, the maddest thing about this is that Ollie's job's safe. Like, if Ollie doesn't win a trophy, that's the irony about this. If Ollie doesn't win the Europa League, we've already gone out the FA Cup, and we get fourth or we finish in the top four, it'll be job done. It'll be job done. And like we saying, we just want to see him get the money, but there'll be no difference. His job is safe.
The thing is, Flex, I am not blind to the fact that there is an emotional attachment to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And a lot of United fans will find it difficult to slate him, to want him out, because he's part of Manchester United. He scored that goal in the Nou Camp. You look at Chelsea, they were quite similar with Frank Lampard. It's a clever move from them. Ex-player comes in. The Glazers, it was such a safe bet for Ed Woodward to bring Solskjaer in because they know it doesn't even divide, the fans in that sense. But look at how ruthless Chelsea were in getting rid of Lampard after a short stay. Wasn't working. Again, do you want to go down that route of being a Chelsea? Is that modern day football now? Do we change our manager every 2 seasons, whatever, to freshen things up and that? We will never see the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson or a Wenger again in these modern day times.
They will not sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer until they've destroyed Solskjaer's legacy to the fans. Because if they sack him now, where there's a split, then the people who support Solskjaer will absolutely, and I'm talking probably Red Army, Must, all the big groups that love Solskjaer, they'll go mad at the Glazers. They will not sack Ole until they've destroyed him in front of all our fans. So that because they won't. That's what they tested the water with in October with Pochettino. They wanted to know what that story from the Manchester Evening News was not about sacking him. It was about what if we did sack him? What's the reaction? And at the moment, I still think there's a lot of people behind Ole. The Glazers won't sack Solskjaer for the reason Jay said. He's a buffer. And if they sack Solskjaer, all that hate and blame will go to the Glazers and to Ed Woodward. So they won't sack him until you've got booing in the Old Trafford, and I think we could be a long way off that.
And it'll take a long time for that to happen. Ricky, I want to bring you in on this and kind of just move the conversation on. We'll get to Eric Bailly. There's reports that he's massively frustrated. Reports coming in today that he's not getting enough game time. He doesn't want to sign a contract, and he feels like they're just getting him to sign a contract so that he can his value can be held and they can get a good transfer fee from him. But away from that, Rick, me and you talk a lot in the fan cams, loads. And one thing I always pick up from what you say, and this is going to bring Jay into it, it's going to bring Beth, Kev, and just let's get into a melting pot of opinions now. You do say you've got your doubts about Solskjaer, but he doesn't know what he's doing at times, etc., etc. But a lot of what you say kind of comes at individual players in terms of the ones that he's not picking, in terms of sometimes I get from you that actually it's not all about bringing in this, bringing in that. You still feel that actually he can get better out of what we have now because he's not picking the right players. When you say that, what do you mean and who do you mean to just, you know, bring that to the table of what Solskjaer can do to make it better for himself?
What you need to do, you need to realise who your best players are, and you need to realise who are so important to the team. And for example, and resting players at the wrong time. That was a big game yesterday, and Pogba played on the left, didn't he? Because Rashford was injured. So you've already got a player injured. You need to bring that player in, and the rest of the team around that player needs to be settled. He doesn't seem to grasp this. I used to grasp this when I used to run Sunday League. If I had a left winger missing, I didn't leave my left back out. You know, he left his left back out when Pogba's coming. So now I've had one or two people say to me on Twitter, "Yeah, but Telles played all right." Telles did play all right, but it's about the continuity, and it's not just about the continuity. I mean, Shaw's much better to start with, as well as decent as Telles is. Shaw's much better. So you bring in a player in, and you're not giving him his best chance. If Shaw would have played, and there's a little triangle there as well, Matic would play a little bit better.
Fucking hell, he'd have to play a hell of a lot better, Ricky.
Matic would play a little bit better. If he's there and Shaw's at left back and obviously Pogba's on the left, when you've got good players around you, Harry Maguire in the press conference the other week, I can't remember what game it was, he was asked about, because we were keeping loads of clean sheets at the time, and he talked about the confidence in the team, and he talked about how well he feels when he actually used the phrase, "when my left back is playing so well." That's what he said. He described him as my left back because he's the left-sided centre-back. So when he says my left back, he means the guy that's right next to him. So you get these combinations, and you must have heard them all. They're always talking about playing in triangles. There'd have been a little triangle there. There's a triangle, Maguire, Matic and Shaw. And there's also a triangle, Shaw, Matic and Pogba. Two triangles are just decimated because he's left Luke Shaw out. So he's got to start. He's not realising that is embarrassing. It's absolutely
but Matic is a backup player anyway, like Telles.
Well, exactly. Well, you know, so yeah, even more reason not to make so many changes. Even more reason.
The thing is, though, you see City interchange every week, and their play doesn't suffer from that because Pep's got them playing a certain way that everyone's playing in that way, and that's the way we need to be, because we can't afford to not rotate and then have some massive drop off when we do.
We can't afford
to not rotate.
We shouldn't have been rotating in that game.
No, you shouldn't be, but you can't afford
not have been rotating in that game when they're going away on international duty. He's rested Luke Shaw. England are playing San Marino and Albania and then Poland. So Luke Shaw, and plus they've got Chilwell. He won't play all three games. He might play one, he might play two. I imagine. I mean, look, we all love Shaw. Everybody knows how well he's playing. There's thousands of Chelsea fans out there. They'll tell you Chilwell's better. It might be Chilwell who plays 2 games. Shaw might play once. And if he plays 2, it'll probably be once against San Marino, and then he'll miss one, and then he'll play against Poland. So from the amount of fixtures United have been having, he's going away for 2 weeks now to have a rest unless he plays the one game against Poland. Playing against San Marino will be like a training session.
You can't pick the same 11.
There's just no need to leave him out.
You can't pick the same 11 in the modern game 3 times in 7 days. I had no problems with the changes yesterday. I think the problem was the fact that individual players and the tactics. I thought Matic was shit, Maguire was shit, Fred was shit, McTominay was shit.
When he come on.
Yeah, I thought individual players, all 3 goals are mistakes.
Mark, if I just jump in there, please, if you don't mind, okay? I've got some results here for you. Palace 0-0. Solskjaer 0-0, Milan 1-1, Sheffield 3-1, Leicester 3-1. The one common denominator in all those games was Ricky, your very own Matic. He's done at this level. Roy Keane, reincarnated in his prime, could not make Matic pass the ball or move better. He's done at this level. Accept it.
He passed the ball.
Ricky, I'm talking. You're listening. You had your say. I'm talking now. It's very simple. The best Matic played all season was when the game against Villa, when Jack Grealish was running the show. He was literally running the game. about 10, 15 minutes to go, Solskjaer, won his best substitution this season. He actually brought on Matic to boss and kick and act as an enforcer against Jack Grealish. That has been the net contribution positively of Matic this season. He should not have started yesterday. Point blank. He's a liability.
So who would you have picked as a central players?
Let me finish. Let me finish. I'm talking. Let me finish. You had your say. I'm finished. Secondly, you put up this picture today, because I did some research on you too, and you were espousing that if Shaw was playing, Shaw would have called for the ball and Maguire would have passed to Shaw. That's absolute horseshit. It's nonsense. Centre back has a helicopter view of everything in front of him. He can see for the entirety of the game before the goal was conceded, the first goal was conceded. He can see point blank if he's a smart player. But 80 million probably doesn't buy intelligence, because it certainly doesn't buy leadership or communication skills, which Maguire doesn't have. He can see, okay, Leicester are pressing the life out of us. Iheanacho is in great form at the moment. He scored his hat-trick last week. So I've got the ball. I've got a helicopter view of the pitch. I can pass to Lindelof. I can play it long, or alternatively, I can pass to Telles. No, I'm going to play a hospital pass to Fred, who can't pass water, and put him into trouble. But your argument is, if Shaw had been playing, Maguire wouldn't have done that. That Shaw would have been talking to Maguire. Maguire is the captain. I say he's got a view of the pitch in front of him. He can see where we've been pressed, so don't play a short ball to your CDM, which is proven time and time again. He can't turn on 180 degrees, and he can't pass the ball 5 yards. That's on Maguire, and you won't call it out. Everyone here has their favourite players. Every one of us. Me personally, it's Bruno Fernandes. But when Bruno has a bad game, Ricky, I will call him out. Point blank. Maguire yesterday was culpable for the first goal, 50%. Fred second. The second goal was Matic and Fred. Matic ball watching while Tielemans and Ndidi passed through him, because he hasn't got the speed to get back. You don't call out Matic. So I think if we're going to be critical and analyse games, every single player deserves criticism when they mess up and credit when they play well. Very simple.
Just before Ricky comes back, because I know he will, I would just say, because I'm going to, again, sit in between the two of you, I think Matic has been diabolical this season, as I've said many times, but I think it's probably the biggest issue we've got, because when Ollie first came into the club, it was Matic, Herrera and Pogba, and it was brilliant. And at the end of last season, it was Matic, Pogba and Bruno, and it was brilliant. And I think we all would agree that the centre defensive midfield pivot is Man United's biggest area as the centre-backs. And Matic has dropped. I mean, I don't know why it's happened. I like Matic. Last season, I thought he was brilliant. But he retires from Serbian international duty. You think, oh, he's gonna be decent. And I think he's been dreadful all season, Ricky. I really do. And I think I agree with Jay. At his age, I just think if Ollie isn't using him, and you've said this many times, Ricky, for me, Matic is the best CDM we've got before this season. And Fred isn't one. And McTominay isn't one, but he still goes with the McTominay and Fred above them. And that, to me, is because Matic just hasn't been good enough, unless you think Ollie's just turned his back on a player that he has used consistently for 2 years.
He's got it. I think he's got it completely wrong. Matic yesterday gave the ball away about 3 times. He gives the ball away. Okay, Tielemans did the 1-2, left him for dead. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is not going to make any mistakes. Nobody. So I believe to call Matic out for getting left for dead, and he still had a lot to do after that. He got left for dead on the halfway line by Tielemans, who's a top player. And there's he's got a lot to do, Tielemans, when he beats Maguire. He's still got a lot to do. He tried to play a through pass that got cut out. He tried a pass to the left. I've watched it again today to Pogba that went behind Pogba, and Pogba had to check back and somebody won it. I think he gave 3 passes away, and then he got skinned on the halfway line. I've watched it today. I am perfectly happy with Matic's performance yesterday. We have not got another midfield player playing anything like him. Anything like him.
I remember when Ricky a couple of weeks ago, Rick, and you said to me that although it was, you might have your favourites and stuff like that, we all kind of do, but you said it doesn't matter who plays in that position out of what we got, they ain't good enough. And that was including your man Matic and stuff like that. I remember saying that you were saying that whichever the pairing is, it still isn't at the level that we need.
I've got. This is the same thing with Dan James. This gets levelled at me all the time. I'm not saying we can go and win the European Cup or the Premier League. I'm saying
I don't think we can win the FA Trophy either.
I'm talking about from what we've got.
Yeah.
From what we've got, Nemanja Matic is head and shoulders our best central defensive midfield player.
I agree. I actually agree because Fred and McTominay are shite.
That's true.
What I would do, and what I believe Thomas Tuchel would do, is doing it. He's come into a club and turned them completely around by understanding the game, getting two players just in front of the back four, making them difficult to beat. If he came or took in out, look, how can I prove this? I'm never going to prove it. Matic should be playing every game. Every game he'd be playing.
Oh my God.
I'd rather play it.
I think he'd be able to play every game.
He also wouldn't be leaving Shaw out, and they'd be more covered and they play better together. You've got to get your triangles right. You've got to get your partnerships right. You've got to get your combinations right. And Matic, as I just said, just let me finish now, Jay. I'm not saying we can go and win the league with these players. I'm not saying we can go and win the Champions League with these players. And people are always saying, who would you sign? Who would you sign? I'm not interested in who we'd sign. If we go and sign somebody, I'll then have a look and tell you what I think about the player that we've signed. What we've got right now, Nemanja Matic is our best central defensive midfield player. Who's better, Beth? Yeah, I see you shaking your head. Who's better?
I'm saying I'd prefer to play, even though I do not think Fred and McTominay are good enough, I would prefer to play them in that pivot purely because I just think they bring so much more energy, so much more pace, so much more tempo. Every time I see Matic play, and genuinely, this is just me looking at it with no bias, no anything. When I see him play, I see him dropping into basically a centre half. So there's a massive gap between Bruno, who likes to play high up. You see him taking 5 touches and then he just passes it backwards, giving everyone time to get into their shape. It's just so stale and lack of tempo. And
if I can just cut in there, somebody said that to me a few games ago. I sat here and I counted how many times Matic played the ball first touch, and he passed it first touch 13 times in the one game.
It wouldn't have been backwards.
When he's facing forward, he passes it forward. When he's facing sideways, he passes it sideways. Pass to the nearest man.
The problem is when him and Maguire are passing it to and from each other, constantly just taking time and time and time. The press builds on us. There's lack of space to pass the ball, and we usually just get dispossessed and they go back on, and the opposite team go onto the front foot against us.
You prefer Fred in that position to Matic, then?
It's a lone CDM. I would not prefer Fred, but I would prefer to play Fred and McTominay rather than Matic and someone else there, purely because I do think this season, every time I've seen Matic play, he looks like he's running through sand and he just doesn't look like he's good enough. And I don't like our style of play when he's playing out from the back. That's just my personal opinion, because I think the drop-off is just massive.
Who's your favourite?
Out of the three of them, I don't have a favourite, but I'm with Beth.
Different shades of shit.
If option A is to play Matic, who I will say again, Ricky, is done at this level. He's done. Piss off to Portugal or America. Playing a very slow-paced league where you can take 5-6 touches and then lay off your backwards-sideways pass. That's Matic's game. It's very, very easy to have a pass completion rate of 85-90% if you pass the ball at 5 yards, and the vast majority of the passes are backwards and sidewards. I'll take you back to the original point, Ricky. Out of the 5 games I listed, 3 of them were draws, 2 of them were losses, and the key common denominator in midfield was Matic. So I'm with Beth 100% in that point. As bad as McTominay and Fred are, I played them over Matic.
I'm going to go with Ricky. I actually would rather Matic than Fred and McTominay, because Fred and McTominay last 2 games, I gave Fred a 1 yesterday, Jay. I gave him a 1 out of 10. And McTominay, I'm fed up of him looking forward, doing that little dance on the ball where he puts his foot on it and spins it away.
He does do that.
I'm fucking fed up with it.
He plays like he's saucing.
I think Kevin needs to come in here and back up McTominay.
Let's move on to Eric Bay.
Kevin, back up Scott, please.
Wanting to leave United. Go on,
Give
Kev.
Kev the vote.
Kev.
Nobody bothered about what I have to say. I'm just there to watch and just sit back and observe.
Can I just say, over 13,500 people watching, and in all seriousness, I know people are building this up like we're not a community here and a family here at the UnitedStand. And I think this absolutely proves that no matter what your opinion is, we've got so much diverse opinion, and we're never afraid to come and talk about that out in the open. That's what this is all about. Not slagging people off, not going on Twitter and going after people and sending insults. It's about coming and talking about the team that we love. And I have to say, it is enjoyable and it is entertainment, but it's all coming from a place that's pure. It's all coming from a place where actually we all see gaping holes in this team. We all see major things wrong with it. And actually, when you strip it down and you take out the individual here or the individual there that you might sway with, most of the things wrong with the team, Jay and Rick, who seem like they maybe disagree on everything, they both agree that Solskjaer pretty much hasn't got a clue. They both agree that, we don't play good enough football. They both agree that other managers are getting better out of their squad. So that's the beauty in this. I think you can look at it and say, oh, Beth might not agree with Kev and Kev might not agree with Jay and I might not agree with Mark or whatever. But actually, when you deep it, we're all just looking at the club saying, what the hell is going on here? What is the progress?
The thing is, Flex, right? This is not personal. This is no different to what people do usually in a pub on a Saturday night after a match. Yeah, we're in lockdown. Pubs are not open. This is just people voicing their opinion and having a heated debate. It is no different to anybody that's even trying to get into the comment section here saying it's toxic. This is far from toxic. This is just supporters of Manchester United having their say.
That's it. There was a super chat there for £1,000 that did say Dan James is shit as well, but I didn't read that one out.
Kev to give his opinion on. Kev, you can start the argument this time. Eric Bay says that. Well, apparently Eric Bay feels, and I'll quote it because it's from Sky. He would love to stay at Manchester United, but he's had enough. He feels disrespected, and he's got to go. Do you agree with this? Do you want him to go? What's your thoughts on that?
Do not want him to go. Totally agree with him and what he's going to do. Read the comments. He says he fears that Manchester United only want him to sign his contract extension to make sure that they get a transfer fee for him. How many times have Manchester United done this in the past? 2 words, Phil Jones. Nearly 10 years, right? Nearly 10 years he's been at United. Nearly due a testimonial. Apparently he's too embarrassed to even have one, which is about right because he doesn't even play for us.
He said the only people who turn up with his mum and I felt
exactly. Good luck to him. But 10 years at Manchester United, right? He signed a new contract. What was it, a couple of years ago? 4 or 5 years?
5 years, yeah. 80 grand a week.
Yeah, that was not Manchester United looking long-term, thinking Phil Jones, future England captain, what a player he is. They purely did that in the fear of losing him for free. They've done it with loads of players before. I have got no problem with Eric Bailly coming out with that statement. Do you know what it is? And Flex, do you know what was coming? It would be that to the Glazers, right? That's exactly what it would be. I'd say, well, do you know what? If you don't sell me at the end of this season, I'm not signing my contract and I'm going for free. And I've said it before as well. United are very, very close to losing Pogba as well in this same route. Raiola will be in Pogba's ear and he'll say, you just give it another season there, sunshine. You walk out of Manchester United. And the only people that will be to blame for this will be the Glazers because they should be looking at renewing contracts years before. This is something that Arsene Wenger got slated for. How many players did he lose like that? And the same thing will happen at United. It's not do you know what? I was going to say it's not Solskjaer's fault. But for me, Eric Bailly should be starting for Manchester United. Over Christmas, thought he was class. But he will not drop Harry Maguire. He loves Lindelof, loves Maguire. If Harry Maguire was a signing from, let's say, Sheffield United, £10 million, for me, he wouldn't be in the first team, and he certainly would not have that armband round his arm.
I tell you what, Kev, I actually agree. I think if he was a Mourinho signing, I think this is what Jay was talking about, falling on his sword with him, or if he'd inherited Maguire, I don't think he would stand by him as much. I think Ollie is stubborn. I think we've seen that with Ollie. But I just wanted to, because he did say disrespected, and that could be the Glazers. But I picked it up, Kev, that he felt disrespected by Ollie, that, you know, almost like he's played well and he just gets dropped for Lindelof every time. It doesn't look like there's any way back now.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing about this. But what's interesting about this is that if Lindelof didn't have this back injury, I think Bailly would have been restricted even further to less games. But another talking point I want to say is, again, this is bringing in Rick actually, and then we'll go to Beth and then Jay. Rick, I know that actually, the more I think about this, I don't think you'd be too bothered, would you, if Eric Bailly left? Because I know when we've spoke, you're saying, look, Lindelof's the far calmer of the two. You feel that he's a better defender. You think Harry Maguire and Lindelof are doing just fine. And is there really a need for a centre-back? I know that's a common theme. So, you know, where do you stand on Eric Bailly saying he wants to leave?
I don't think we've got enough quality centre-backs as it is. So I wouldn't particularly want him to leave. No, because
fair enough.
You do need cover, don't you, to start with? I think we probably need another centre-back, let alone getting rid of one. But, you know, he won't be in my starting lineup, though. No, he'd be cover.
Got Phil Jones coming back, Rick. Sorry? We've got Phil Jones coming back next season, mate. You know.
What is it about Bailly, though, Rick, while we're on the topic, and then we'll get to Beth and then come to you there, Jay, in the corner. What is it with the Bailly situation why you feel that Lindelof is better than him, or why you don't feel that we play much better with Eric Bailly there?
I think he's too erratic. I think he steams into challenges too much. I think he's too how can I explain it? I've seen him get away with things in the box, and he does generally get away with them. I've seen him do a Cruyff turn in a penalty area at Stamford Bridge the other year. And
ain't that just because he's good enough to do it? Because he's good enough, isn't it?
You know, it's just he's just too erratic for me, and I think he gets injured a lot because he's so erratic as well. And I think he just gives silly to. I think he is prone to giving silly fouls away, and I think Lindelof and Maguire is our best pairing. And obviously, I mean, I shouldn't say this because they get so much else wrong, but obviously the management and staff seem to think that's our best pairing as well, don't they?
It's funny. It's funny though.
That don't mean a lot though, because I don't think they get. I was going to say.
I mean, I don't necessarily feel that Rio Ferdinand talks a lot of sense, but he was one of the best centre backs I've ever seen at United, and he said that Lindelof and Maguire give him nightmares. So,
Mark, I do not give a monkey's what any of them pundits say on the telly. It stuns me. It absolutely stuns me how good a footballer somebody can be, and then not understand the first thing about the game when they're talking about it.
Tell you what, Rick, I never thought I'd do this, but I'm going to cut that. I think that's the best thing you've said in 3 years.
I'm not just talking about Rio, plenty of them. Not got the first idea about the game. Astonishing.
Well, you know what I'd say to that, though, is, and there's a lot of people watching this show who they listen to these ex-players, and because they were great ex-players, they're talking sense. Gascoigne's the best player I've ever seen. I wouldn't get directions off him. So, you know, just because you're a genius in your feet, don't mean you've got it going on up there, really.
Beth, what are you saying about the Eric Bailly situation? Are you frustrated or annoyed that he could be moving on? Or do you see it as, you know what, injury prone, doesn't start anyway, Ollie doesn't fancy him, go and let Bailly do his thing?
I don't want him to go because I think he's a quality centre-half, and I do think he should be in our team, and I think he should definitely get more games than what he's getting now, because we've seen even when he's not injured, which I think every time he's not injured, personally, I think he should be playing. But when he's not injured, he's still put on the bench for Lindelof when Lindelof's saying he's got a back injury and he's playing for injury. Surely you would rotate more than what he is doing. But this is the thing with Ollie. I think he's got his loyalties, and the players he's got his loyalties to is extremely, extremely loyal to. But the players that are just as good, if not better, players who he doesn't have that loyalty to, they literally barely can get a game, a minute. They'll never really be trusted. He has players he trusts and he has players he doesn't. And I generally just think Eric Bailly is not a player he trusts. He trusts Lindelof and he trusts Maguire more. And I do think it is on Ollie that he's not played him as much. I think it's on the Glazers as well for the way that they handle contracts and everything like that. But why would he want to stay somewhere when he knows the talent that he has, and he for me would complement Lindelof and Maguire, both of each other? Why would he stay when he knows he's not going to get in game time? Because even when he is fit, Maguire and Lindelof are still preferred to him. For me, Eric Bailly is a first-choice Premier League centre-half. So why would he say when he's not going to get any games? I completely agree with him if he does go. I don't want him to go. And I do think the way Solskjaer handles some of the players in the squad is not how I'd like him to. I think he has too many favourites. And I think that does cost him in some games as well.
Jay,
can I ask a question?
Okay. Well, I agree with Beth 100%. With Ole Gunnar Solskajer, it is definitely favourites FC. No question about that. When fit, Bailly, for me, he's the best defender of the club. I know Ricky will not agree, but that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. But every single game Eric Bailly's played, we've been able to play a high line because we haven't needed two CDMs to babysit Maguire and Lindelof. Because Maguire knows, okay, I don't have the pace. I can win ahead or in the box. I'm good in the air. We're going to press up 10, 15 metres. And if the ball's played over the top against the pace centre half, I know Bailly will get back for me. And we saw that in the the League Cup game against Everton. There was it December, January, guys. Eric Bailly was probably the best player in the pitch.
Yeah. Everton didn't have a chance all game.
He pocketed Calvert.
That day, Jay.
I'm talking now. He pocketed Calvert-Lewin. Then fast forward to the 3-3 draw with Everton. We dropped the points, leading 3-0. We're back to Magaluf at centre half and playing the two CDMs. So Maguire and Lindelof for me, and Mark, Flex, you've all said it, they are a broken partnership. As standalone defenders, they're not actually bad. But Eric Bailly complements them. And when fit, he should be first choice to play beside any or Maguire or Lindelof. However, the disrespect that Solskjaer has shown Bailly, I think Eric Bailly, if he gets a transfer out of that club, I wish him all luck in the world because he's better than that. And he is definitely, as Beth said, a first choice centre back for any Premiership team. And I wish him all luck in the world if he leaves.
I've got to jump in here. I've got to jump in here because this is going to make everybody happy. But the live comments, Ricky and Jay, I think you're going to be giving a high five to each other across the screen, right? Because I've mentioned this a lot, and it's interesting that Jay mentioned it. I did enjoy PSG and I did enjoy Leipzig, but one of my favourite performances from United this season was Everton first half, Goodison Park, quarter-final, Carabao Cup. Yeah. I can't remember what the team was. I've just got it up on the screen. It was a strong Everton team, and this was the United team that Everton couldn't get out the first. We didn't score in the first half, but they couldn't get out the half. We absolutely penned them in. The team was Twansebi at right back, Bailly, Maguire, Telles, Matic, Pogba, Greenwood, Bruno, Van der Beek, Cavani. Van der Beek, Pogba and Bruno were all on the same team. Matic played, and it was Maguire and Bailly, and that's the best I've seen us play against English opposition this season. And that was because, well, Bailly played with Maguire. Matic and Pogba obviously had the freedom to press as well. They will both try and pass forward. And you had Van der Beek on the same pitch as Bruno and Pogba. And that I never knew that. I never realised that Pogba, Bruno and Van der Beek were on the same team that game.
Is that the game when he scored the banging left foot shot?
I don't know, but I know we pressed the life out of them.
Because basically we couldn't score. We were all over them, and we were thinking it was like 0-0 at half time, wasn't it? But we were all
we pressed the life out of them. We pressed the life out of them for about 40 minutes, and I'd never realised that Bruno, Pogba, and Van der Beek were on the same team.
Abjit's got a question for Rick and Jay. Says, will Matic do better than Harry in defence if you stuck him centre half? Rick?
No.
Probably not. No, probably not.
No. See, unanimous no there from Rick and Jay. They agree on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Is there any news as to which clubs might be interested in Eric Bailly? I'd like to know that.
I'll tell you what, I bet there'll be plenty. I bet Arsenal have him.
I'll be interested to find out.
Did we not say top clubs, Mark? No.
No. They'll be cute. There'll be plenty queuing up for Eric Bailly. But you know what? I'm surprised no one in the live comments has said it because they'll say I'm a hypocrite. I would sell Eric Bailly in the summer because I don't believe in his injury record. I believe in him, but I don't believe in his injury record. That's why I would let him go. But I still think he's our best centre back, and I still think we're best with him. But I just don't trust his injury record.
Beth, what was you going to say?
I was just saying I thought Everton were interested in him at one point. that was like a rumour like a little while ago, but I don't know if that's still floating about.
I think he'd do well there. If he can stay fit, that's the only thing with Eric Bailly. I do get like, it depends how you like your football, innit? Like I can see why Rick says he probably gives him nightmares and makes him feel on edge. Like he's always going to do something crazy. And even when Solskjaer's talking about him, he kind of refers to his playing style. His playing style sometimes contributes to him getting injured and stuff because he's Eric Bailly. He's nuts. He does nuts things. Like, but I don't know. I quite like it. I quite like that athletic, powerful. As long as the person next to him is a calming influence, like a Lindelof, let's say, or even a Maguire to a certain extent. I don't necessarily mind that, but I do think he has to start. Anthony says, stop putting Maguire and Lindelof in the same sentence. Maguire is the main problem. He needs to go. Maguire and Bailly, they lost 6-1 to Spurs. But that Spurs game, that was,
that's a write-off.
Harry Maguire was shoving Luke Shaw out of the way to let Spurs score, wasn't he?
Exactly. And Bailly will be at Tottenham next year, says Daly Smith. That'd be interesting. Yeah, Jose would probably still like him. It was his signing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, just on that point about who would sign Eric Bailly, on a serious note, who would sign Fred? Who would sign McTominay?
I think people would sign McTominay for sure. I don't think Fred would be looking, really. I reckon people would.
Preston will sign McTominay there. Preston. You can say Preston will sign McTominay.
No, I reckon a lot of the top teams would be interested in McTominay, if he's used in the right way. Used in the right way.
I agree with you,
Fred, have you heard that story about Fred? Apparently, when United agreed to pay 50 million for Fred, Shakhtar, all the owners went out and got loads of champagne, had a party because he literally just could not believe it. They could not believe that. They said 50 million. They came back and they went, yeah, for Fred. They just couldn't.
Yeah.
It was probably the biggest scam ever. We've gone and got this lad called Dave from Glasgow. We've got him a Brazilian passport, and we've sold him for 50 million.
Can I finish?
Mark, the biggest scam ever was us paying 80 million for Maguire. The biggest scam ever.
Yeah, Leicester laughing all the way to the bank, literally. Can I have to do this because I've got Rick and Jay. Some may call it stirring the pot or whatever, but I don't care. Can we just have the Dan James discussion now? And this brings in everyone, but I think Rick, for everyone, on a serious note, the Dan James thing, because you'll always say to me, Rick, people have said to me on Twitter Flex, and I'm telling you that, all of that stuff. The Dan James situation, like you said earlier, you're not saying that we're going to go and win the league with these players, but with Dan James, what actually is it that you rate about him so highly?
What do I rate about him so highly? One or two other players, he's the best right winger we've got by a country mile, and I like wingers. He's rapid, works his socks off. He gets a few decent crosses in. Obviously, some of them are a bit poor. He's flashed a couple across the edge of the 6-yard box. I said something the other week. I put this on Twitter. There was a situation where he flashed one across the edge of the 6-yard box. It's only about a week ago, and Mason Greenwood just stopped his run about 4 yards short of making
AC Milan second leg.
Yeah, and everybody said, "Oh, he shouldn't have crossed it." But then a few weeks ago, I think it was Rashford crossed one from the right, and Martial stopped. And then on that occasion, it was Martial's fault for not running into the 6-yard box. You know what I mean? Everybody just changes it around, if you like. Dan James has put a couple of cracking crosses over, low crosses I'm talking about, with nobody running in to get on the end of them. And going back to what Jay said about if you're going to use that scenario of games that certain players play in, which he used with Matic, and that was spread over quite some time. If you just look at our recent results are fine when James plays, and they're not when he doesn't.
Jay, why do you think Dan James is not good?
If we are, as a club and a fan base, reduced to having a right winger that runs about, keeps shape, keeps it simple, but does not put crosses in the box and actually find the striker on a consistent basis, we are going nowhere fast as a club. Ricky, yesterday you called out Mason as having a poor game on your van cam with Flex, and I was absolutely astounded. Are you of the opinion, Ricky, that yesterday had Dan James from played over Greenwood, that Dan James would have provided more in product than Greenwood would have had yesterday, in your opinion? I'd be delighted to know that.
I don't know about end product, Jay. That's something that you can't.
So that's it. That's where we are in product. Dan James does not provide in product at the end of the day. I'll take you back to the game against Milan. We were on, was it a 4v2? Remember the game against Milan?
I wasn't finished.
Jay, hold on, Jay. One second.
I wasn't finished.
Go on, Rick.
You asked me not to jump in before when you were talking, and I didn't when you asked me not to. So I don't know about end products, but in all of our recent games, the team shape has been spot on. We made it hard for AC Milan. We made it 0-0 at half time. We got the goal that we needed in the second half. All of these games that Dan James has been playing in, it's about the team shape. It's about the work rate. This is what Tuchel's doing at Chelsea. They're making the team difficult to beat, and it doesn't matter where the goal comes from in the end. Doesn't matter who scores it or who assists it. It doesn't matter. It's about the team. I'm not interested in individuals. It's about the team and the results. Let me finish. I'm not quite finished. It's about the result being right. And throughout this run of decent results, all of them decent results in the last 10 games, we've had 8 decent results. Dan James has played in all them games. We've hardly let a goal in while he's been playing. Now, if he'd have played against Leicester, we might have won 1-0. I don't care who scores it. It's about stopping the opposition from scoring and being tight and having enough men behind the ball when you're playing serious football against serious opposition.
Ricky, the only point I agree with you there was that you don't care who scores the goal, because yesterday you didn't care that Mason Greenwood scored a goal yesterday in your fan cam, I should say. And secondly, Dan James, for me, he's the kind of player you bring on 10, 15 minutes to go when the fullback is already knackered to run at the fullback. For me, he's not a starter for the club because I don't believe he's good enough to be a starter for the club. I would play Mason Greenwood ahead of Dan James every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Well, your miles out. And the management are realising it.
Greenwood was man of the match. 20,000 people yesterday.
That's
80%.
That's fans voting. I'm not interested.
So sorry, Mark, right? Mark, okay.
People. You're just fans voting, lads.
Listen, based on that, Ricky, you're not interested in what the pundits say. You're not interested in what the pundits say, and you're not interested in what 20,000 fellow fans say. That's absolutely insane.
Right. We got beat 3-1 by Leicester City.
Hey, listen, Ricky's leaning forward now. This is it.
2 weeks ago, we beat Manchester City with Dan James playing instead of Mason Greenwood. And we did it by making ourselves difficult to beat, working hard, getting the team shape right. Doesn't matter.
It was a different team though yesterday, completely. There was a lot of different positions that were changed yesterday.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It wasn't just Dan James.
Oh, yeah, it's not down to one person. Beth, you're 100% right. Luke Shaw should have played. Dan James should have played. And for me, McTominay should have played instead of Fred. Most people would have had him instead of Matic.
I think, if Donny van der Beek had done that step over and Dan James was behind him, Dan James would have fell over his feet. He would have gone, what the fuck's that? I've never seen that before.
and it still would have been 0-0 at half time and we still would have nicked it in the end.
Can I just say to finish off, I've not had water in this cup for the whole thing. I've just been pretending to drink it because I've just because it's just been a great show. A great show. That is honestly, in all seriousness, I honestly think this is what UnitedStand is actually all about. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. There are some people who say, "Oh, don't let Jay speak," or "Don't let Kev speak," or "Don't let Ricky speak," because I don't agree. No, like everyone. Yeah. No. I think this sums up the UnitedStand perfectly, and I know it's entertaining for the people at home, and some people got their popcorn out and putting it into a bit of a battle. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, I think it's a resemblance of actually where we are as a fan base, because of where the club is, because essentially where the club is and where the club is not moving very, very quickly. And there is actually what I've learned from today. I feel like I'm doing like wrap up epilogue.
Summary.
Yeah, a little summary. But what I have learned is that although it seems on face value that Ricky and Jay may disagree on a hell of a lot, there's actually so much there on the surface that they agree on. I just think just the way that they put their opinions across, two opinionated characters. I've loved it. And like you said, Beth talking facts as well. Kev, Mark, thanks for joining us. I thought you did all right as well, Mark. I thought you had your say pretty well.
I might do more of these shows.
Yeah, you know, I think you should, mate. I think you could dig yourself out a little career out of this, mate.
Yeah,
you keep going.
I think we should definitely reconvene, because I think it would be there's a lot of things we didn't talk about, like, you know, Rashford playing for England when he didn't play yesterday. I think that's weak.
What is going on? That's
weak from Solskjaer. Sir Alex would never have allowed that. But, you know, I think this is to do with favouritism. And yeah, you go and have a good time, Rashi. And I think there's loads to talk about. So maybe with it being the international break, maybe we can try and get a couple more in as well.
Rick, before we leave, can I ask you to do a thread on this show? I want the highlights from this show. I want a thread on this on Twitter tomorrow. I want you to watch this show back and let us know 3 times and let us know what you thought. Listen, guys, thanks to all of you for locking in today. Great show, great spirit. Really enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys very, very soon.